Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 19th, and it is 10:24. We're going to start off with Psalms 82. It is a psalm of Asaph. It is 8 verses, so let's begin. God presides in the great assembly. He gives judgment among the gods. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Selah. Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Maintain the rights of the poor and oppressed. Rescue the weak and needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. Amen. They know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I say you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High, but you will die like mere men. You will fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. That is all 8 verses of that beautiful psalm. We're going to continue with our reading from yesterday. Actually, we're going to finish it. We're reading from Luke 12. All right, and I think we stopped at verse 34. So we're going to continue from verse 35 on to verse 59. All right, verse 35, it talks about watchfulness. Be watchful. Pay attention. Look at what's happening. Take heed. Be mindful. Pay attention. Let's begin. Watchfulness. Be dressed ready for service and keep your lamps burning, like men waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. 37. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. I will tell you the truth, he will dress himself to serve, will have them recline at the table, and will come and wait on them. It will be good for those servants whose master find them ready, even if he comes in the second or third watch of the night. But understand this, if the owner of the house has known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken in. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour where you do not expect him. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will put him in charge of all his possession. But suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming, and he then begins to beat the men servants and maid servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of the servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbelievers. 47. The servant who knows his master well and does not get ready or does not do what his master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much will be asked. Not peace, but division. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled! Exclamation mark. But I have a baptism of undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, fathers against sons, and sons against fathers, mothers against daughters, and daughters against mothers, mother-in-laws against daughter-in-laws, and daughter-in-laws against mother-in-laws. And this is what it is like now. This is exactly as it is today. Interpreting the times. He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say, it is going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say, it is going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? Why don't you judge for yourself what is right? As you are going with your adversaries to the magistrate, try hard to reconcile to him on the way, or he may drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. And that is all 59 verses of Luke 12. I wanted to share some words with you this morning. I think I might have given these to you before, but it's always good to give it to again. It's good for you to hear things over and over again. It's part of reminding the people of the laws of God. God is what? Unsearchable. Okay? Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. Not searchable, not lending itself to research or exploitation, not to be understood by searching. Hidden, unfathomable, mysterious, the unsearchable ways of the universe. Psalms 92:5 says, Lord, how great are thy worthy, and thy thoughts are they very deep. Exclamation, as thou knowest not what is. September 24, 2021, anarchy, a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority. Okay, this is where we are today. We don't want protection. We want to defund the police. We think that we can live without the police. We lie on our brothers and sisters, not by 1, by 2, by great numbers. We destroy the lives of people simply by using false accusations. And this thing has become something that happens all the time, to the point where now people do not feel bad for a woman, because so many of them have come out of the shadows after their doings. They defile themselves with men, and then years later they come out and say, he raped me. A young lady boarded a bus in the suburb area of Philadelphia. This bus was crowded with other passengers. A man took and raped this woman in the presence of all the passengers. Not one passenger extended a hand to help her. She was brutally raped in the Upper Darby section of Pennsylvania. Not a soul among those that were watching tried to help her. This was witnessed on the video. This was a monstrosity. This is the division God speaks of. The thoughtlessness of the people. Not only are they thoughtless towards God, fearless towards God, they care nothing about each other. That was a young lady. It could have been a little girl. No one helped her. Another young lady in Texas from a devout Baptist family had her family crucified brutally by a boyfriend that her parents tried hard to separate her from. This is the new climate of this world. A climate that hates God, refused to listen to any of his counseling, don't want his words written in their schools. The American flag has been replaced by the rainbow flags of the freaks of this nation. This is the new world order. This is what happens when we pull ourselves from God. And at the same time that we are pulling ourselves from God, we still expect his blessing. As if the pandemic has not been enough to remind us of the divine power of God, it has done nothing. It has simply divided the people even greater. A friend today is hard to find. Your enemies are more likely to be under your roof. My people, it is a terrible thing. It is a monstrosity for a nation to ignore God. The price we pay for ignoring God is horrific. And if what's going on in our world is not enough to put the fear of God in the hearts of the people, then God will do more unto us until he forces us to get down on our knees and ask for forgiveness and repent all at one time. So all that this is going on in our world, we will surely pay a price for it. We cannot live in this world without some kind of policing, period. It will never happen. Similar, lawlessness, revolution, insurrections, riots, rebellions, disorder, turmoil, mayhem, pandemic, chaos is what our world has turned into. And let me tell you something. Before it gets better, it's going to get a lot worse. You know, sometimes There are certain ways that you can come at a country. You can come at them harshly. The Twin Towers being blown up, that was a harsh attack. And you can come at them differently, slowly, killing their people. And this is what's happening in our world. Our people are being murdered. They are being fed poisoned. Do your politicians care? Absolutely not. All those promises that they give you are vain. They have absolutely no interest in your well-being. A godless world is a weak world, brothers and sisters. Let me repeat that. A godless world is a weak world indeed. A great nation is determined by the God they worship. In order for this nation to return to its great status, we must return to God, period. Not to Buddha, not to Allah, not to any other fake God. We must return to the only God of this universe, the maker of this earth. Until we decide to turn back unto Him, the mayhem will continue. Anarchy, absence of government, and absolute freedom of individual regard as a society being freely constituted without authority or governing body. It may also refer to a society or group of people that entirely reject a set of hierarchy, first used in England in 1539, meaning absence of government. A state of lawlessness, political disorder due to the absence of government authority, the city's descent into anarchy. That's where we're going into. That's where we're at. Okay. A utopian society of individuals enjoy complete freedom without government. Anarchism is a belief that society should have no government, laws, police, or any authority. Okay. Let's take it there and do your worst. Let's take it there. This is what you want? Let's take it there. And while you're at it, do your worst. Because God is watching. Every day, every hour, every minute. And He will certainly, without delay, give us our due reward. And in the midst of that, as He did in Egypt, He knows where the feet of His people lie. And as we live long enough to see a black president, long enough to see a destroyed world, we will live long enough to see the judgment of God upon this earth. And like I said to you before, the sins that we commit on this earth that does not belong to us, the punishment is never worth it. I am not here to pacify you. I leave that up to all the others that you love so well. A small minority, however, believe change can only be accomplished through violence and criminal acts, not through peaceful protesting, but violence and criminal behavior. Okay. And that, of course, is against the laws. Biblical. Moral looseness. Let's read about moral looseness a little bit. Oh, God, Father, did I separate this? I did separate it. Hold on. Ow. That is Exodus. Here we go. I think I might have read this to you before, but let me read a little bit of the golden calf that they made when Moses went up to the mountain and spent 40 days and 40 nights with our God. When he came down, just in that little bit of time, this is what occurred. But see, this country has been sliding for the last 100 years. We have been sliding into this situation we're in now. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought you up out of Egypt, we don't know what has become of him." Aaron answered them, "This is a weak leader here. And this is what we have today. Weak leaders. But when you had a strong leader, you hated him. Now you have a weak leader who abandoned our people in Afghanistan, who opened up the doors to all kinds of immigration coming on in, walking right across the border, carrying on their backs backpacks full of fentanyl and elephant tranquilizers. This is why I said to you, people can come at you different ways. They can come at you harshly, or they can come in and destroy your people. The enemy will find a way to bring a country down. And the more chaotic the country is, the easier it is to do. It is easier to bring down a strong nation if it's already weak. It is easier to intimidate a nation if their leader is already weak and feeble. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast into the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt." Now what do they say? "This rainbow flag is your God. We are to pledge allegiance to the rainbow flag." Ha ha ha, how funny is that? In the meantime, other countries are looking at us and laughing. We are a laughing stock. Just waiting for the right moment to prance. This is why God said you shall always not join forces with that which is evil. He tells us this all the time. Don't have nothing to do with them. Do not offer them protection. There is a reason why God said you are to separate the evil from among you. But no, this country now embraces them, protects them, speaks up for them. You fire people simply because they are not gay. You listen to an organization that says Black Lives Matter, but who could care less about the life of a black man or a black woman? They have ulterior motives. But yet you're so blind you can't even see it. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord. So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterward they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. Then the Lord said to Moses, go down because your people... Finally, the Lord said, your people, not mine. This is what he's saying today. These people. Among of them, I have a few that are mine. The Lord said to Moses, go down because your people, whom you brought out of Egypt, have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, these are your God, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. You notice they didn't say who did all those miracles in our face. You notice they didn't say who opened up the Red Sea so that we could walk on dry ground. You notice they didn't say who killed all of the Pharaoh's men and their horses. You notice they didn't say who killed all the firstborn of the Egyptians and touched none of his people. Didn't say any of that. And still God shows us mercy every morning. The sun comes out, the moon at night. The rain still drops. We can still go outside without wearing some kind of mask so you can breathe. That's the mercy and the love of God towards his people. How do we show our love to him? By spitting in his face continuously. Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them and that I may not destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord his God. O Lord, he said, why shall your anger burn against your people whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say it was an evil intent that he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and to wipe them off the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger, relent, and do not bring disaster on your people. I wouldn't dare speak for these evil people today. Those who are turning our world upside down, causing our children to curse us and behead us and do all kinds of monstrosity. Why would you speak for such a people? A country who is afraid to inflict strict punishment according to the laws of God for the conduct that they do. Do you know what you do when you do that? You encourage more people to do the same horrendous acts. Instead of making examples. Do you know what the Philippines does? with people who are on phenol and elephant tranquilizers. They go out at night. And this is going to sound cruel. It's going to sound cruel. But sometimes cruelty is the only way to set things in order. The Philippines police goes out every night. And they go into these areas where these people are walking around like zombies. And they shoot. They shoot the dealer. They shoot the one who's on drugs. They shoot anybody who's in the midst of a transaction. So in the morning in the Philippines today, there are dead bodies everywhere. Now that's a country the cartels may be slightly afraid to come into. But America is all fair game. Is Exodus 32:13. Remember your servant Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, to whom you swore by your own self. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give you your descendants all this land. I promise them, and it will be their inheritance forever. And there's always a price, a horrible price to pay for defending the wicked. My forefather Moses paid the price for that. And we will all pay the price for the things that we are doing. So please, I beg thee, get your house in order, because the same God that put this earth together is still in charge. And unlike you and me, he does not require sleep. And he remembers all things. He can see all things, no matter where you're doing it. And sooner or later, his anger will burn. Unlike the anger that burned upon that day he saw Moses' people dancing around a calf. It will burn, and disaster of biblical proportions will be our reward. Take me seriously or not, believe it or not, it matters to me not. Please, grab your Bible and get a little closer to the man named Jesus. Get a lot closer, because he will be your only saving grace. And that is the truth. Thank you very much for listening to us here at Spiritual Order. My name is Brenda Guerrero. And as always, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you. May the will of God for this world, for our lives, be manifested. And when I say these words, these words are not meant for those who are wicked. This blessing is always for the people of God, period. Enjoy your day. And as always, I love you. But God will always love you much, much more. All right? Have a beautiful day. And if I live and nothing happens, we'll do this again tomorrow.